When it comes to gaming, we appreciate all the advances in technology. And when it comes to Nintendo, well, not only are we fanboys, but we like to know what the next thing is going to be. And I'll have to tell you, the current CEO at Nintendo made it about as clear as mud. Not sure what I'm talking about? Check out this clip.
Let's go over to the greatest video game development company that has ever existed. Anyone want to venture a guess at who I'm talking about?
BioWare.
Ubisoft.
EA. Nintendo.
That's right. You're singing my language there, Culture. It's for breakfast now. It's a cereal.
That's
wow. Right. Nintendo president addresses whether company will use generative AI technology to create games. I'm going to answer this for you guys right now. This is an article from John Trent. The answer is yes and no.
And no.
Yeah, yes. Answering in a typical Japanese way. Nintendo president Shuntaro Furukawa recently addressed whether the company would use generative AI technology to create games. Here he is right here, dressed up as Mario, and over here is Nobuo Uematsu, the composer for the Final Fantasy games. If you are unfamiliar with generative AI, Google explains on their website that generative AI can also help us create new content. Generative AI builds on using existing technologies like large language learning models, which are trained on large amounts of text to predict the next word in a sentence. For example, peanut butter and blank is more likely to be followed by jelly than shoelace.
A description of how AI works.
I thought you would have had,
is, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think banana.
Chocolate.
Peanut butter and banana.
I love peanut butter and banana.
Have we found a new Turing test? Examples of companies include, well, all of those. As reported and translated by Tweaktown, what a wonderful name that is, Furukawa took part in a Q&A with investors and was asked about generative AI. He answered, in the game industry, AI-like technology has been used to control enemy character movements, so game development and AI technology have always been closely related. Next, he specifically addressed generative AI. Generative AI, which has been a hot topic in recent years, can be more creative, but we also recognize that it has issues with intellectual property rights. There's hitting the nail on the head. From there, he detailed, we have decades of know-how in creating optimal gaming experiences for our customers, and while we remain flexible in responding, that sounds like it's about to be a no, by the way, to technological developments, we hope to continue to deliver value that is unique to us and cannot be achieved through technology alone. And this is why I love Nintendo. Anybody have any reactions to that before we continue?
I don't have before we get into reactions, I just want to make a note. John cited somebody on Twitter who translated that. There is a full official translation of that answer that is slightly different with slightly different wording on Nintendo's official investors relations website, if anybody wants to check that out. But the gist of it is the same. That's all I pretty much wanted to note.
I can always count on you for the advocating for the clearest possible translation.
We all got to work on our best information. Yeah.
My thoughts right away are, and AI the word is thrown around, and I think misused and abused a bit nowadays. So especially where, like, he is right when he says that games have always used AI, like artificial intelligence, whether it be for pathfinding and reaction to players and stuff. And that's where you get the comments, hey, the NPC is pretty dumb, right? He doesn't react properly or naturally or whatever. But that's just technology. Right. That's not true AI, though. That's just programming, pathfinding, and so it's kind of blurring the lines between what this question is and what he's referring to. There's quite a chasm gap, I would say, between the two. And regenerative AI makes me nervous because I think it's going down, I think, a path that really takes the creativity out of the hands of artists and programmers and stuff. Like you're taking level designers' jobs away and all. It's inevitable. But at the end of the day, it takes creativity. And AI at the end of the day is not actually creative. It will just take something that has already been created and make something new or twist it around or whatever. So there's no true creativity, in my opinion, from it. But the path this is going down is, I think,
true AI.
Yeah, I think we're going to hit a brick wall one of these days where we're realizing we're just recycling a lot of stuff, and there's no true creativity from anyone anymore because their jobs are lost to this kind of thing.
I would argue, Dave, we were already having that problem without the AI.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Marvin there.
Yeah, it was sinking its teeth into the industries, many different industries for quite a while. I agree with that. Yeah.
When you look at,
Well, if you describe,
I was going to say, when
go
you
ahead,
look at
go
just
ahead, Marvin, and I'll
storytelling in
go.
general, I mean, everything pretty much pulls from, ancient sources. Superman was the basically a retelling of the Moses story from the Bible, and then a lot of things are based on Norse or Greek mythology. There's just been a lot of retelling over and over and over throughout the centuries.
I totally agree with that. Other than Superman is obviously a Jesus allegory.
Oh yeah,
Marvin, how
because
dare you?
Zack Snyder
No.
understands so much about it.
Did you not see him in front of the sun?
Yeah, no, I caught the subtlety of like the 3 crosses behind him after he died in Batman versus Superman. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me
Did you
here,
get the
Zach?
subtlety of
Oh,
did you get
my
the giant
goodness.
stained glass window behind him when he was in the church? I don't know if you caught it. Very,
No,
very
it was-
subtle.
you know
Marvel.
what? I think on like a
Very
4th
subtle,
viewing, I
very subtle.
might have caught it out of the corner of my eye. I'm sure Siegel and Schuster are thrilled in their graves.
Exactly,
Yeah, no, I
exactly.
agree.
Well, that is one thing, that you can use something as the basis for your story and then move on from there and create something not greater, but something more unique to the person telling the story. The thing that I see here is when you take someone else's work and you just change it just enough so that it technically is something different, sometimes you can get some really cool things like that. Like there is a Hotel Transylvania game that is aping off of Pikmin. It's so strange to describe that out. It's also horrible. Yeah, yeah. There really
That's
is.
like the first time I've ever heard of a Pikmin clone. And it's
Exactly.
Hotel Transylvania.
And that is the only reason that game is interesting, honestly, because for the most part, movie tie-in games can die in a fire for all I care. Sometimes they're fun if it's a shooter and you're not reinventing the wheel. Okay, fine, sure.
Or if it's a game that they were making before and then they went, oh, just slap the movie label on it. That way, like, we can sell it. The Wolverine Origins game is probably the best example of that.
Yes, that's I love that one. And I think Mark Hamill does the
great.
voice of Wolverine in that one.
He does. He does a decent job in that one.
Yeah. Now, we should do a retro review of that. By the way, I believe Space Dave will have the first retro review on this channel very soon. I want to point that out.
Awesome.
So,
by the way, I will say, like, taking somebody else's work and changing it just enough to make it something that's technically new. I think that there's actually a need for that in modern storytelling, because like I'm dying for somebody other than Zack Snyder to like take Star Wars and like make like a new Star Wars that's not Star Wars, but just like tell the stories that like we want to tell, that something that's not that horrible Netflix film series that he's working on.
I agree to a point, but then having the conscious awareness of what you're doing with that kind of makes it beyond plagiarism. It's just you've tainted, again, going back to my conversation earlier, you're tainting what was the original, right? That's no fault of, like, George Lucas, he has his faults, but the first 3 are masterpieces at the end of the day. Well,
at the end of the day, George is not getting any money from these properties anymore, and the people that currently have them are doing horrible things with them. So I think like the fans of the franchise want something that's like Star Wars, but not Star Wars right now.
I don't disagree with that, but that would take like an Elon Musk coming in or a multi-billionaire coming in that cares about that. I would rather them come in, buy it off of Disney, who's basically lost money, and then recreate it in a proper image. But then again, you're still going to get his version of it, right? You'll never satisfy everybody. Sure. There's always fans that
essentially Marvin wants 50 Shades of Grey, while Space Dave is a Twilight.
Didn't we get that with the Acolyte? I mean,
well, now here's the thing. Obviously, I mean, I'm not going to make a point about 50 Shades of Grey, but the idea here is that AI, with no discernment, with no taste, literally no taste whatsoever, can only rank order things based on popularity and then say, well, we're going to use a little bit of this, we're going to use a little bit of that. It essentially, if you have a person who is only taking directives, you can either you can be very kind and call them a craftsman, or you can call them what we often call them, which is a hack. And in that, generative AI is the ultimate hack if it's left to its own devices. The thing that I appreciate about Nintendo, and while everyone is out here, by the way, Joshua Hammond, fair point. How far are you on Mass Effect Trilogy playthrough so far? I still don't have a Windows machine, so I have that in my Steam back for whenever I get to it. The trilogy, the Legendary Collection. I've played Mass Effect in the past. I will never get away from this game. It will haunt me for the rest of my online.
I think
days.
I might start a new playthrough once because my fiance and I are replaying Kingdom Hearts right now, going through that whole series, and I think next might be Mass Effect for me.
See, Kingdom Hearts, I'm ready to play that one. I have my PS5 and I have the whole collection. So I could do that, no problem.
Out there in the viewers, let us know what you want us to stream first. Do you want Marvin to do Mass Effect? Do you want Jonas to do Kingdom Hearts? Do you want Jonas to do Fortnite? Let us know.
Yeah, it's a fair question.
That's a fair question.
Jonas and I have been called out by the guys over at Floral from Under a Rock, who, by the way, is celebrating 2,000 subscribers tonight. So big congratulations to them. But they have talked a whole lot of garbage about Jonas and I in Fortnite, and we might have to go there and set things right.
It's a fair point.
Head to head.
The thing that I want to bring up is, like, Nintendo, they'll do these Mario games, which, they could have AI generate Mario games and just hit spam and repeat over and over again.
That's what they do now.
Having played a lot, the credit that I'm going to pay Nintendo here is that there's actually innovation in each one of those levels. They could just do, here's another sand level, here's another this, here's another that. Having played through Super Mario U Deluxe, or whatever the Wii U one was, and then re-released on Nintendo Switch, because I have kids and they want to play. And if you ever want to punish yourself, please play 4-player Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. It is one of the most painful experiences in gameplay you could ever have in your life.
Jonas, you ever wonder if Super Mario Maker was just their excuse to, like, get other people to do the work for them, and then, like, look at the work that they do and get ideas?
I think you're right, and you're absolutely right, and it's a hilarious point to me. But I think it gave them permission to make these levels a lot harder. Like if you play Super Mario Brothers Wonder, there'll be one way that you can play the level, and then if you hit the Wonder Seed, it can make it into a much harder way to play that level.
I love Wonder. So good.
They deal with the skills gap here between young players and older, more experienced players by basically letting you scale the difficulty to your own preference. This is another thing that I love about the design over there at Nintendo. And I will gush about Nintendo. If there is such thing as a pixie duster for Nintendo, I am that.
Oh, you're setting yourself up now. Oh,
yep.
You're an unapologetic promoter of Nintendo,
except for the tennis games. I hate those so much.
Jonas,
those ones.
When Pro finally lets you go to sleep at night, do you play Zelda's music in the background or Mario music in the background? Then you go to sleep.
No, it's just on repeat in my head. And I do remember one summer when Majora's Mask haunted my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, here's the Nintendo question for you. You hate the tennis games, but does anyone remember for the Wii Mario Baseball?
Sluggers, yeah.
I loved Mario. I've been waiting for a new Mario Baseball for like a decade.
I unironically like every single Mario sports title. Golf, strikers, hoops, like they're all fantastic. I have bought maybe 2 real sports games in my life because, like, I still do enjoy sports. I bought like one Madden game a while ago and one MLB game, and they're fine. But, like, throw the Mario in there and get all the cool powers and everything, and now we're talking.
Right, it's an excuse to expand it in a way that if you want to play Madden, you will basically play in a way that tries very hard to match the rules of football.
Yes,
and they will iterate on certain things, but at the same time, you really have to stick to the rules of football if you're going to do Madden.
You've been watching a clip from the most recent That Game Place Live. That's right, we're available on Wednesdays between 3 and 5 p.m. If you have any thoughts on the current clip or you're interested in the show, let us know down in the comments section below. As always, game on.